Okay, hello, good morning for all the participants and all adjudicators, and welcome to Speech Competition EC in Action 23-2024. I would like to say congratulations to top 10 semifinalists, and I hope everybody was ready for giving your best for this round as best as you do on the previous round. Okay, before we start the competition, I will re-inform you guys some point that participants must pay attention. First, uh, the minimum duration for each participant performance is 3 minutes and the maximum duration is 5 minutes. Disobeying the duration of the performance will decrease 10 minutes, decrease 10 points for every 30 seconds. And second, in the semifinal round, timekeeper will share screen the time and provide warning signal by showing the time every 2, 4, and 5 minutes. Three, the participants should not bring and read the text or any keynotes when performing. The next is there will be a Q&A session in this round, which there will be maximum 3 questions from the adjudicator to each participant, and the participant have to answer the question asked by the adjudicator directly with maximum time 1 minute without preparation time. And five is if the participant makes mistake when performing, the committee will not compromise and allow any pause of duration or provide any restart for the participant. And the next is participants are required to remain inside the meeting room until they call to perform, and no one may enter or leave the meeting room once the competition begins. And the last is the participant will be called 3 times in a row based on their turn to perform for the first chance, and participant who doesn't show up at the first call at the 3 times call will be called on the last turn in the second chance, and participant who doesn't come on the second chance will disqualification. Okay, that's all for the highlight for this round. For the adjudicator, please prepare your score sheet, and for the participant number 1, please prepare yourself because we will begin the competition in a minute. All right. Hello, Kak Titania.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible. Okay. We will give you time to prepare your camera and microphone ya, Kak Titania.
All right. Kok kameranya nggak nyala ya?
Coba.
Are you ready, Kak Titania?
Yes.
All right. If you're ready, our committee will set the timer and giving you warning time on the textbooks. Okay. The timer will be start by your first word ya, Kak.
Generation Z, also known as one of the most problematic generation, often receive bashful comments for the littlest things they do. Exactly. What sets all of these generations apart and even led to the array of arguments that exists? One of the answers to this question is Gen Z's high demand for conscious consumerism. This term refers to a mindful approach to buying and using products. It's ultimately about consuming less while making sure that what you actually consume is sustainable. Sustainable products are both long lasting and either made from reusable and recyclable bio-made materials. In this case, they're buying products that aligns with their core values, such as sustainability, ethical labor practices, and social responsibility. They consider the other factors that supports the production of these products so that they're also being mindful to what they're buying from. Gen Z are actually individuals who value sustainability for the environment. This is due to the fact of high education relating to waste management. We can see that in schools, they often taught us countless of methods to reduce spreading waste around us. This made Gen Z as the FOMO generation to be interested in participating for saving the earth. But actually, being someone who's afraid of missing out isn't entirely a negative thing. As long as we're supporting the positive things, it doesn't cause us or our surrounding damages, right? Fact, Gen Z's demand for certain products can be seen in today's changes from companies. The biggest proof of Gen Z's impact on consumerism can be seen in the rise of sustainable and ethical products from today's companies. Take Patagonia, for example. This brand has long championed the title of sustainability for their products. Their vision aligns perfectly with Gen Z's demand for environmental responsibility. In 2011, they also promote the campaign of Don't Buy the Jacket as a direct challenge to traditional consumerism and engage other people to buy less and focus more on the quality. Personally, I think that this is a bold move for the company to ask their consumers to buy less of their products, even though this statement itself aligns deeply with Gen Z, who are driven to reduce the waste that spreads around the earth. Other than that, H&M also participate in a similar campaign called Conscious Collection, which features garments crafted from sustainable materials and enhanced transparency for their supply chains. This makes shifts from their fast fashion origin, underscoring the profounding impact of Gen Z on the industry, which leads us back to our previous statements of the impact this generation has over the branches of industries. The consciousness of reducing waste is highly needed in today's world, especially when everything around us often causes pollution that can damage our nature. We can see that we can see that textile fabric waste would often pile up due to the high level of consumerism. But with the mindset of only focusing on the quality, we can definitely manage the effort to reduce the waste around us. This was stated by Margaret Wheaton. There is no power greater than a generation who finds what they're deeply interested in. I am Tanya. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.
All right. Thank you for your speech, Kapitania. Your speech take 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, next we will conclude Q&A. Maybe for the adjudicator, Kasara, maybe you can deliver the question, Kasara.
All right, thank you. So actually, I want to ask regarding FOMO, the fear of missing out. So do you believe that FOMO mentality that drives some of Gen Z's behavior could eventually have negative consequences, even if it's currently linked to positive causes like environmentalism, as you had said, that it still has some positive effects. However, do you think that it eventually have negative consequences in the end? Thank you.
Well, uh, uh, so if I may, can I repeat your question? So you mean that Gen Z's FOMO could bring some negative impact, even though they actually. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question because I didn't really get that.
Okay, sure. So basically, you said that FOMO has given some positive causes like environmentalism. However, eventually, in the end, will there be some negative consequences to that as well?
All right. So I personally think that the negative consequences would be that some may use this as a way to some of the Gen Z would actually use this. Some irresponsible Gen Z would actually use this FOMO trend to actually damage the environment around them. But I still strongly believe that even though there are some who will most probably like uh, bring negative impact to the environment, with the other population of Gen Z, they can definitely stop the spreading of that because they can support each other to stop the behavior from spreading. Because actually, Gen Z is a generation that often called to be rebellious, but they're actually doing it because of a cause. So if we can find what cause they're doing it from, we can definitely support them to stop their doings from doing negative impacts to the environment. So I believe that from supports from the other population and from more education uh, about the trends and what should we do and what should we don't do, we can definitely stop the negative impacts from happening. I think it's like that.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Sarah and Tania. Okay, maybe next question from the Audi. Audi, can you deliver the question, Audi?
Okay. Hello, Titania. Thank you for the
Hello.
yeah. You mentioned about sustainable fashion and fast fashion and giving some examples of the brands that is already shifting their market from fast fashion into sustainable fashion. My question for you is how would you personally act to support sustainable fashion and reduce fast fashion consumerism as a high schooler? Like, what is the smallest step that you can do that you can act toward this issue as a high schooler? Do you get my question?
Yeah, I get it. So I actually have an experience about sustainable products itself. Actually, when at the Lima project back then, I think it's in February, my group, I joined the fashion group, so I made some fashion that relates to the sustainable materials. I use patch fabric, like waste from textile fabric, to make like a product like so. Okay, let me summarize. Back then, I made a vest. The vest is made from sustainable products, which includes textile fabric waste that we patched up to become a beautiful vest that we can indeed use for everyday life. And we definitely support, uh, we definitely make sure that the quality of the products is indeed sustainable for the consumers to use. So, as a high school student myself, I think that we can make such simple products from the textile waste that exists. So it's similar to what the fashion brands are doing today. We are also doing the same to make a sustainable material, a sustainable product that also can reduce the spreading waste around us by using the textile waste and by working together this with the knitters around town. We can definitely stop the spreading of the textile fabric waste. And so I think it's like that. And it's also really environmental friendly. Yeah. My answer is that.
Okay, thank you for the answer.
Right. Thank you, Gaudi. Thank you, Tania, for the question. Next question is from Ms. Ukti uh, for Tania. I will read it for you, Tania.
Yes.
Okay. Can you relate? Can you relate your idea to your daily life issue?
I actually can relate this to my daily life issues because at my at around the environment of my home, actually there has been a lot of textile fabric waste. And with the ideas that I have provided before, I believe that we can at least help to stop the spreading of this waste that would definitely damage the nature itself because fabric won't won't like destroy itself that quickly because It's not like it's made from organic things. So by the ideas that I have included before from my project personally, it actually can help us to reduce the spread of waste because we actually made it to a new product that we can use for our daily life. So by doing that, we can like stop the spreading of the waste and make a healthy environment around us. I think it's like that. That's my answer.
All right. Thank you, Ate Tania, for your amazing answer, and thank you for all the educator for the question. For Ate Tania, uh, you now maybe go back to the waiting room. Thank you very much, and good luck, Ate Tania. For the adjudicator, kakak may give a score for the participant number one, Katitania, and after this scoring, we will continue to the next participant ya kakak. For kakak-kakak adjudicator, is the scoring done, Kak? Hai, Kak. Wait a second ya, Kak. Participant number two, not on our waiting room ya, Kak. Wait a moment ya kakak-kakak. Alright, maybe we will turn to participant number 3 ya kak. Hello kak, gimana? Are you ready for the speech, Kak Nyoman?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, before we start, I will give you some time to prepare your camera and microphone dulu ya kak.
Okay. Yeah. I think I am ready.
Kak Nyoman, are you ready to speak?
Yes, I'm ready.
Since you're ready, our committees will share the times and warning times on text box ya kak.
Okay.
And you may start your speech and the time will start with your first word ya kak.
One of the most notorious AI technologies ever made is deepfake. All malicious acts, from frauds, political misinformation, to a method of blackmailing someone, is possible due to the existence of deepfakes, which is why it has a negative reputation in society. Deepfake is an artificial intelligence technology which allows the manipulation of a certain content by altering the face, voice, or any aspects of someone's identity. This, of course, could be very dangerous, especially to those who are unfamiliar with the technology. However, is that really the only side that deepfakes could offer? Or is there another side that we may have overlooked? There have been many cases where deepfakes are used for harmful purposes. For example, a recent Telegram scandal in South Korea involves female teenagers as the victims. Their faces and even whole identities were used in a deepfake adult content which threatened their self-esteem. This case emphasizes moral implications of AI technologies and the urgent need for strict regulations to protect people from harm. Deepfakes have the potential to worsen social injustices and cause permanent harm, which is why it is important to look at the drawbacks of these breakthroughs. On the other hand, a new and innovative approach of using the deepfake technology could be found in psychotherapy. Here, deepfakes are used to create interactive content to treat patients with sexual violence related trauma. This interaction gives the patients or the victims the chance or the opportunity to interact and express their feelings in a more private and safe space than having to tell it to another person directly. Of course, there are still many debates about the ethics of this method, whether or not using fake contents to treat one's trauma can be justifiable. However, this approach of using deepfake indicates that even a technology which is considered controversial could still be used for the advancement of science and also the well-being of humanity. Even with notorious AI technologies such as deepfakes, we can still try to innovate while maintaining our integrity in the era of artificial intelligence. So there should be no reason for us to use or utilize AI-aided tools recklessly. We can start from the simplest example, like using Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer or ChatGPT to only improve our abilities and make our life more efficient and not to completely replace our task. To innovate with integrity in the era of AI, we need to recognize that technology and humanity could coexist harmoniously. Rather than viewing AI as a competitor or a replacement, we should see it as a tool to enhance our human abilities. While AI outperforms us when it comes to processing data with remarkable accuracy, we should not overlook what defines our humanity, which is empathy and creativity. By prioritizing these human values, we can make sure that technology will exist only to help humans with their task and not to replace them. My name is Nyoman Surya Hutama Andiarta, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kaniman, for your speech. Your speech takes 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay, next we will conclude the Q&A, Kaniman. Maybe Kak Audi deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, hello, Nyoman. Thank you for the performance. Yeah, it was a very interesting topic that you bring up about deepfakes. My question for you is, um, we know that AI can create arts too now. I think you have already also mentioned it in your speech. And what do you think about the arts created by AI? Do you think it undermines the art that are created by real artists? And do you think we could be deceived by artists who say that they're making art based on their talents, but they're actually using AI? What do you think about this?
First of all, that is a very interesting question. I believe that AI used for arts can depend based on the purpose. If the aim of creating an art with AI is to gain revenue from it, to gain money, then of course it undermines the talents that we have from good artists in the world. However, if our purpose of using AI to create arts is just to help and make our life more efficient so that we can give the repetitive task to AI and make, or rather spend more of our time and energy to innovate, then of course it's not going to be a huge problem. However, again, it's still a very debatable topic, and I cannot really say an exact response towards this matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Nyoman.
Thank you, Kanyaman, for your answer, and thank you, Audi, for the question. The next question from Kak Sarah. Kak Sarah, you can deliver your question, Kak.
All right. Hello, Yoman. So you mentioned about the urgent need for strict regulations. However, my question is, do you think regulations can effectively keep up with the rapid advancement in AI technology like deepfakes that you mentioned, or will they always lag behind? Thank you.
As of now, it is, of course, very tough to regulate all of the problems that we have, including the crime related with artificial intelligence. However, I am optimistic, and I believe that in the future, we will live in a utopia where the law can actually have or regulates these AI usage to be transparent, and all of the creators of this content can have accountability or responsibility of what they are creating. So let's say someone is using deepfake for their crimes, they will be held accountable for it, and they will, when we are creating the contents, we need to know the purpose of each creation. So it will not be free for everything, for everyone to use, and there should be certain boundaries to set when it comes to using AI as our future technology. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Naman.
All right, thank you for the question, Kak Sarah. And the next question, I will read it from our leader, Ms. Lucy. Kanyaman, I will read it, the question for you, Kak. So the question is there any special case happen also in Indonesia? And please provide solution for Indonesia's circumstance.
May I ask the issue whether it is about deepfakes or anything in general?
About your topic that you have just presented, of course.
Oh, okay. So while I was looking for certain cases involving deepfakes to commit crimes, I also found or encountered certain websites or articles that stated deepfakes in the usage of unconsensual pornography in Indonesia, and it happened to some females. It is, of course, concerning, and what I can give the solution, I can give a pragmatic solution, is just to make sure that we need to be more cautious when we need to share our personal information, especially the social media, and to educate more of our people so that we do not misuse this technology, this very advanced technology such as deepfakes, for harmful purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanyaman, for your amazing question. So with this, your speech officially over. Thank you so much. You can back to the waiting room, and thank you so much for all the educators.
Thank you.
Educator, scoring for the participant number 3, Kanyaman. All right. Audi done scoring for Kasara. Are you done for scoring, Kasara?
I'm done, Karil.
Right. Thank you, Kak. We will to the next participant, ya, Kak. Hello, good morning, Kak Daren.
Hi, good morning. Nice to see all of you.
It's already, ya, Kak. Are you ready for your speech, Kak Daren?
Can you spare me a few seconds? I need to calm myself down.
Right. Yeah. We will give you some time for prepare your camera and microphone, ya, Kak Daren.
All right. Am I audible from here?
Yes, you're audible, Kak Daren.
All right. Let me see. Systematic issue. Systematic issue. Okay. Oh yeah, I have a question. Do I need to say the title of the speech before I perform?
It's up to you,
All right.
whatever you're comfortable with.
Are you ready, Kak Daren?
Yes, I am.
Okay, since you're ready, our committee will share the timer, and the timer will start with your first word, ya, Kak Daren.
Saying that Gen Z has the power to reshape the market is actually a huge misconception. In fact, it's an even bigger exaggeration. According to a study in 2022, it was reported that Gen Z only took 14% of the annual spending, which means Gen Z is the group of people that spends the least amount of money. Yet a lot of people say Gen Z is changing the economy. Fact is, Gen Z's purchasing power is very, very limited. In fact, most of us are being subsidized by our own parents. A survey shows that Gen Z are more lenient toward things that are affordable than brand loyalty, which is a more pragmatic way to approach things, but that doesn't necessarily mean changing the economy, so to speak. Gen Z have always been known about being environmentally conscious, but every single trend that Gen Z is known for have existed for years before they even talked about it. Brands like CMF and Starbucks has been in a sustainability narrative for decades, way before Gen Z brought it to the mainstream. And likewise, people always talk about Gen Z to be a FOMO generation, when in reality, this isn't really that true. Because FOMO isn't a trend. FOMO is a human trait, and so it exists in everyone, not just Gen Z. Especially after the spike of social media and e-commerce, there has been a spike in people impulsively buying things, which means everybody, not just Gen Z. People say that Gen Z is pushing innovation, but fact is, this is kind of far from the truth. Because for centuries, companies and bosses have always needed to adapt to new consumer needs that changes every single day. It's not only Gen Z pushing them, it's everybody. A quintessential example of this is plant-based products. Because there was a wave of people who cared about the environment and also health, and so they developed health products. This proves that innovation is driven by everyone, not just one sole generation. But in this world, in this modern world, ladies and gentlemen, people, especially from the older generation, has a lot of stigma towards Gen Z because of their differences, the way they think, the way they act. But fact of the matter is, every single generation prior to Gen Z has had their own differences and their own uniqueness. For instance, baby boomers were very invested in automobiles, and so they revolutionized the car industries. Millennials loved technology, and so they were the first people to integrate technology in our daily lives. And so I am compelled to ask all of you, compelled to ask all of us to not see Gen Z's uniqueness as something quirky, but to see it and recognize it as progress. Ladies and gentlemen, if we were to put too much emphasis on how Gen Z acts, talks, and thinks, we're basically distracting ourselves from the real world problems that are happening as of this moment. Things like wars, nepotism, and monopoly are all prevalent issues that no one's really talking about right now. Yet we give so much attention to the Gen Z problem. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude this speech, Gen Z has a role, in fact, an even bigger role in the future in creating the market. But to say that they're the only one pushing it is an exaggeration and an oversimplification of the complex human nature in consumption. And so I am inviting all of us to be more critical when we come across narratives that talk about generations, not only about Gen Z, but also other generations in particular. Let's also focus on the real world problems and tackle it together and be our collective responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, the problems that Gen Z faces is also all of our problems. And so we should all be a part of the solution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kadaren, for your amazing speech. Uh, your it take 4 minutes and 56. All right, we will turn to the Q&A session ya, Kak.
Yes.
For Kak Sarah, maybe you can deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, thank you very much, Darren, for your speech. So I'd like to ask, how can we encourage all generations to be more thoughtful about their spending and avoid impulsive buying?
Do I get the time to think or I answer right now?
You may answer it directly.
All right. First of all, thank you for the question. I would love to answer that. My answer on how we can make older generations, not just older generations, but also all generations to be less impulsive when it comes to buying things is to understand that the things that we want is different from the things that we need. We need to understand that social media has become so powerful, marketing has become so advanced to a point that it could manipulate us. And we should accept that and we should understand that we are weaker than social media. And so we should develop our own community, people around us, to stop ourselves from being consumptive and buying things that we don't need. And rather, we should focus on the things we need. So the main answer to the question is to accept that social media has become so good at marketing and to surround ourselves with people who knows the problem and how to solve it, and also advising others so they won't fall to the same trap as millions of people have by social media marketing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Darren.
Right, thank you, Kak Sarah, for the question. Next question from Kak Audi. Audi, you may deliver the question.
Okay, Darren, my question for you is, wait. Wait a minute. Okay, I see you. Okay, sorry. My question for you is, you were talking about the uniqueness about FOMO that the Gen Z have. What do you think Gen Z can do with the uniqueness that they have to bring positive impact for the new wave of consumerism nowadays.
Thank you for your question. I would like to answer that question. The way that we, especially for the young generation, how we should respond towards the new wave of consumerism. First, we need to have our own principle. And second, there's this quote that says, life is 95% what you do and 5% what happens to you. And so how we respond to those kinds of things is the way. There's this thing called a phenomenon called a filter bubble, where what we see is what we like. And so in order to tackle the problem with consumerism is to tackle the advertisement and the marketing algorithm. The way to tackle that is to tackle filter bubble, the AI, the algorithm. To tackle that, we need to avoid social media and use it for purposes that only benefit us. And also, like the same answer I just said previously, is to have our own principles and surround ourselves with people who are open-minded and that they have a strong understanding of what we should buy or what should not buy and what we need and what we don't need and what we want. And so that will be my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Darren.
Okay, thank you for the question. Kadaren, for the next question for Miss Kitty, I will read it for you, ya Kadaren. So, the question is, please explain, we are part of the solution. What are some of the practical solutions?
Excuse me, pardon me, could you repeat the question?
All right. The question is, please explain, we are part of the solution. What are some of the practical solutions?
Oh, uh, Thank you for your question. I would like to answer that. The reason I said that it's our problem and therefore we should be a part of we should all be a part of the solution is because the problem itself, like monopoly, consumerism, all other things are things that affect us, not as a generation, but as a society. Every single person is affected by this. And one of the practical ways we can do this together is first is by raising awareness. And then second of all, this kind of problems, it came from miscommunication between people. The thing is, even though we live next to next, fact is we are very divided on what we think and we lack communication with each other. And this is seen from generations to generations to generations. And so one of the things we can do is that we can communicate to each other more and try to be more understanding about the problems we face, that the problems that Gen Z faces is true and what the people of the past assumes it's also not wrong at the same time. And so my final answer would be communication and awareness for each other. Thank you.
Very much, Kadaren, for your answer. This your session officially done. You may go back to waiting room, ya Kadaren. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for your time.
Okay, for the adjudicator, can scoring for the participant number 4, Kadaren, ya Kak? Right. Thank you, Claudi. For Kasara, are Kakak done scoring? We will turn to the next participant ya, Kak. Halo Kak Tara, good morning. Good morning, Kak.
Good morning.
Are you ready for your speech, Kak Tara?
Yes.
Okay, we will give you some time to prepare your camera and microphone ya, Kak.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, wait. Okay.
Are you ready, Kak Tara?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, the timer will start when with your first word ya, Kak Tara. Okay, you may start your speech right now.
As young people, we are certainly familiar with artificial intelligence, commonly known as AI. This technology is said to help humans improve their quality of life. We can use AI anytime and anywhere we are, making every activity easier, especially for students seeking answers to their curiosities. And with this great potential comes immense responsibility. Because, of course, AI can also be used for negative purposes by humans. So, does this mean that AI is a double edged sword that should not be used? Or is it humans who are behaving like cunning foxes? Hi, I'm Tara Priyadi, and let's discuss further on this issue. I often see a lot of my classmates doing homework at school by just copying the answers from AI. They didn't even bother to understand the question or maybe read the answer generated from questioning AI about some topic. They just copy it, which I find irresponsible because, in my opinion, they don't want to grow, to develop their ability to think critically. They do not reflect the golden generation that our country hopes for. I also feel that they are not using this technology correctly because what they want is to solve the problem as quickly as possible, rather than to understand it first and think through the solution thoroughly. Even when tests are conducted online via mobile phones, many students are still found using AI to answer all the questions posed. Even for easy ones, they still prefer to ask AI rather than think logically. That action is the opposite of the word integrity, which means a moral or ethical principle that guides a person to do what is right, honest, and fair, even when no one is watching. It involves being true to oneself and adhering to a strong set of personal values. If this generation, referred to as the golden generation, continues to act without integrity, then the phrase golden generation is nothing more than a joke, a sarcastic remark at best. So, how do we encourage ourselves to be a person of integrity? Well, We can start by practicing honesty and stand up for your beliefs. If you only rely on AI without depending on your own abilities, it will be difficult for others to trust and rely on you. Additionally, if you can trust your own ability and always want to understand and not impose your will, you can grow into a good, honest, confident, and polite person. You can be a better person just by applying these good habits. As Zig Ziglar once said, integrity gives you real freedom because you have nothing to fear, since you have nothing to hide. So, are you ready to be the golden generation of integrity alongside AI? The choice is yours. Thank you for your attention and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Katara, for your speech. And your speech takes 4 minutes and 21 seconds. Next, we will turn to the Q&A session, ya, Katara. Okay, for the question, maybe from Sarah, you may deliver the question.
Okay, thank you, Tara, for
Yes.
your speech. So, my question is, what steps can schools take to encourage students to use AI responsibly?
I'm sorry, can you
Okay,
reply your question?
sure. So
Repeat it.
my question is, what steps can schools take to encourage students to use AI responsibly?
Oh, for me, I think it is good for school to use a paper test since at my school, we still use mobile phones to do tasks. So I think it could be better if school um, conducted the test with paper test because it's better and there will be no more students using AI because they don't have the gadgets to do searching. I think that is my answer.
Okay, thank you, Tara.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katara, for the question. And the next question from Kaudi. Kaudi, you may deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, hello, am I audible?
Yes, Kaudi, you audible.
Okay, thank you, Tara, for the performance. My question for you is, where can we draw the lines of when and where AI help is allowed to use as an assistant, and when will AI use is prohibited at all cost? Do you
Okay.
understand my question?
Yes, I do. Can I answer? Okay. So
Yes, you may answer.
So, in my opinion, we should prohibit it to use AI when it's gonna do a task. But we can actually use AI to when we do searching in the when we are studying with our teacher. There should be times when we use AI to, grow more intensive knowledge, a more intensive knowledge. But if it's task, then we shouldn't use AI because we're not gonna grow anything from it. I think that's my card. I think that's my answer.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Tara.
Thank you for the question, Kaudi. And the last question will be delivered by me, ya, Katara.
Okay.
Okay, the question from our educator, Ms. Lucy. So the question is, what is your opinion about AI doing the school tasks? In there any negative effect for educational system?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Okay, I will repeat the question. So the question is, what is your opinion about AI doing the school tasks? Is there any negative effect for educational system?
Oh, okay. So if there's something negative because of the AI, then I think we should do something like maybe ban AI for a while and then do a seminar about how to use AI correctly and how to actually develop our knowledge with AI. I think that is how we should do it at school. Yes.
Right. Thank you so much, Kantara, for your amazing answer. So with this, your speech officially over. You can go back to the waiting room, ya, Kantara. Thank you so much, Kantara.
Thank you.
Alright, for kakak-kakak educator, can start the scoring ya kakak-kakak. Alright, Kak Udi, for Kak Sarah, are you done scoring, Kak? Thank you, Kak. We will turn to the next participant, ya, Kak. Okay, good morning, Kak Arya.
Morning.
Are you ready for your speech, Kak Arya?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we will give you some time to prepare yourself, to prepare your camera and your microphone, ya, Kak.
Okay. All right. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Was it fried rice or any porridge? Well, I'll tell you mine. I had 2 eggs scrambled, so fluffy, so light as the clouds, with the perfect hint of salt and pepper. I had toast, sourdough bread, lightly burned, smeared with unsalted butter. It was so crunchy and nice. And I washed it all down with a cup of orange juice. Sour, sweet, refreshing, so fresh as it was something that came from the Garden of Eden. And I believe every single one of us had breakfast or a meal to prepare us for this moment, for us to focus, for us to achieve greatness, for us to succeed. But not all people around the globe are as fortunate as us. When I was a kid, my teacher told me this one story. It was a story of a mother that boiled rocks in a pot to distract her hungry children. So every night, when her children would ask for dinner, 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 the mom would reply with, "Hold on, dinner is cooking." And she would stir the pot filled with water and rocks to distract her children. And the children would wait and wait and wait until they fell asleep. And there was no food. It was just all amuse. But back then, when I was a kid, I thought all of that was just a fairy tale or a story to make me more grateful for the things that I have. But turns out I was wrong. Food security has become a bigger and bigger problem each year with the rise of climate change. It has given so many problems to all of us, as in areas near and far, children, women, people are starving. They're malnourished and they're wondering when will the next time they get a full and hearty meal, just like how we would every day. So, with rising temperatures, suddenly changing weather patterns, and crops suddenly dying out, floods, heat waves, and shortages in food, it all has caused a big eruption. It created a massive problem where the food stocks are not as much as the food's demands. And with the limited source of food, it has become pricier and pricier and pricier. So, what can we do to tackle this standing problem? Well, I believe, although it seems like it's a grim situation, so hard to think of a solution, our Earth has its own mechanisms. It has its own tools for us to use to regrow our planet. We could use sustainable farming methods. For example, we do crop rotations where in the same plot of land, we switch different vegetables, or we use our water more efficiently, where we store it for if it has any droughts, or even we could support our own local farmers. And all of us have a part to play in this game, where we, as global people, we have this decision to not waste our food, to whenever we see a plate of food, we think we must finish it. If we don't, we must give it away. If we don't throw it away. The way we view food, the way we use our waste is important for the future, because our actions today, our behaviors today will determine the outcomes of tomorrow. So the next time you're thinking of throwing away that full plate of food because you're too full, think again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arya, for your speech. So your speech take times 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Next, we will turn to the Q&A session, ya, Arya. Okay, for Audi, you may deliver the question, Kak. Maybe for Kak Sarah, you can deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, sure. So thank you very much, Arya, for your speech. So you mentioned about us supporting our local farmer. However, in what ways can individuals like us support local farmers and promote sustainable agriculture?
All right. Thank you for the question. Uh, I'll answer the part where how can we promote the use of better planting of crops. We must be aware of these problems and realize that food security is something that's scarce and it's a global problem that causes uh, millions of people to starve. So maybe we start to promote or we start to teach and educate ourselves about the process of growing food. And when we're educated enough, we could spread the information that we know to others, or we could teach our local farmers to use these techniques. So, for example, I mentioned something called crop rotations. Maybe we could teach them that, and for us, we could buy from local sources. We could urge ourselves not to buy food that's processed, that's from supermarkets, but buy from farmers. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Arya.
Thank you, Kak Sarah, for the question. The next question for Kak Audi. You may deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, hello Arya. Thank you for the performance. Yeah. My question for you is, don't you think it's better to use a more advanced method yet environmental friendly way to grow crops, livestock, and other food staples nowadays, since we're living in a more advanced technological era compared to back then when we still need to use a more traditional way of farming? Uh, don't you think it's better that way, or do you think it's better otherwise? Did you get my question?
I did get your question. Okay, I'll answer in 3, 2, 1. Thank you for the question. And it is a very good way to think about it as we're living in a digital era with a lot of new technology. If the question is, why can't we just adopt those same technologies in the process of planting our food and growing our livestock? The problem is Indonesia for now is still a third world country where the access to technology and the literature for farmers and for people that grow those foods that raise the livestock are not as high as other countries. For example, we could incorporate technology in countries with livestock. For example, in Australia, we could use the technology to make the cows healthier. But here, the education is still not as progressive as other countries. So we could start with something small that could also make a change in impact. I mentioned something called water safety, where you save your water. That's my answer. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Arya, for the answer.
Right. Thank you, Kak Audi, for the question. And the last question will be delivered, will be read by me, ya, Kak Arya, from our educator, Ms. Uti. So the question is, please connect the idea of poverty and education.
Sorry.
I will repeat the question. Please connect idea of poverty and education.
All right. Okay. I'll start my answer in 3, 2, 1. In the basics, education is something that is needed for everyone to survive in this world. It's the same reason why everyone must finish 12 years of schooling in Indonesia, where um, basic education and our knowledge that we gain from school is translated into real life. And sometimes it could help us get better jobs. It could help us get better credit and could uh, gain more access to things that we wouldn't have if we didn't get the education like other people did. So when it comes to poverty and education, the less fortunate usually don't have that high of an education because they decided to work at a young age to support their family, to support the people around them. So when it comes to education, it's important to press on this issue so everyone gets the same level of schooling so that they could better their lives. So education is something that could rise someone's life expectancy, their experience in life. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Arya, for your amazing speech and your amazing answer. Thank you for the question. Arya, with this, your speech session is officially over. You can go back to the waiting room, ya, Kak. Thank you so much, Kak Arya.
Thank you, Kak. Thank you, Miss.
Alright, for kakak adjudicator, kakak can start the scoring ya, Kak. Because all the educator already done scoring, we will turn to the next participant, ya, Kak. All right, because all the adjudicator already done scoring, we will to the next participant, ya, Kak. Audible, Kak? Good morning, Kak Emmanuel.
Good morning.
Are you ready for your speech, Kak? We will give you some time to prepare your camera and your microphone, ya, Kak.
Can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, you're audible, Kak.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, the timer will be start with your first word ya, Kak.
There is a thought experiment in ethics known as the trolley problem. If a trolley at high speed is coming onto a track that has 4 people on it, while next to it is another track with only 1 person, should this trolley be diverted to kill only 1 person to save 4? This problem has been run on AI models with interesting results. Either the AI model refuses to make the final decision or decides that it is always wrong to deliberately crash into a person for any reason. Well, humans actually are yet to find the answer to this problem. I like to believe that everyone here agrees decisions whose consequences involve human lives must not be left at the hands of AI. But I could be wrong, and that is why I'm here today, to try to convince whoever thinks otherwise. Now, with AI, the ethical dilemma that most people think of it is its threat against originality, creativity. Using AI for anything is deemed as good as committing the grave sin of plagiarism. But is this really newly brought by AI? In literature, there's a term called intertextuality, which means that no text is ever a standalone of its own and inevitably is connected with other texts. Take a dictionary, for example. It could only define a word by borrowing a set of other words. Similarly, as humans, our ideas and thoughts are never fully our own because they are shaped, influenced, and delivered by the people around us, directly or indirectly. And even before AI made its debut to the mainstream, plagiarism has already been a long-standing ethical issue. So AI being a menace to originality is only the tip of the iceberg. And there are more down below, more serious problems fundamentally that requires us to heavily regulate and also to put limitations on the innovations in AI. And the biggest ethical problem of AI is that it is not human. Now, I suppose you think I'm stating the obvious. Artificial means it is not human, a machine. And yet, despite the obvious, we overlook the glaring implications of trying so hard to innovate in order to humanize this. To understand this fully, we need to ask, in this era of artificial intelligence, machine learning, how are we to define integrity? If a car runs a red light, the AI-operated traffic camera will record it as a violation of traffic rules and send a ticket to the driver because it is considered wrong. But what if the driver is a mother who is in labor rushing to reach the hospital? Or a man being chased by armed carjackers? Are they still in the wrong? A traffic camera does not have sympathy, tolerance to make exceptions for them, like a police officer could. It cannot think of variables other than what has already been taught to it. And when a machine derives an answer based on statistical data, devoid of the nuances and subtleties that humans need to make a decision, that makes it momentous for us to make a decision, the machine could end up making the wrong decision. And the only thing with the moral uprightness that can right that wrong is a human. In the age of artificial intelligence, to have integrity means to be as human as possible, to have the qualities of emotional depth, of moral reasoning, of adaptability to new situations. And how can this be translated into actions? Well, when trying to innovate, we should always keep humanity in mind. Would you innovate on something that you know could harm humans if all you have is empathy and compassion for them? And when making the regulations, we must always think, are we really exercising leniency because this will benefit human or just because we're doing a cost-benefit analysis, like a machine? We must remember to stay within the realms of developing artificial intelligence and not led astray to the abyss of artificial humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So your speech takes time 4 minutes and 57 seconds. We will turn to the next session, Q&A ya, Kak.
Okay.
Okay, for the question, maybe from Kak Audi. You may deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel, for the performance. I have two questions actually for you. My first question is how much original ideas you're using and how much AI helps you had in making this script. You can answer it in the percentage. The second question is, do you feel that you're benefited from AI use, especially for this competition?
Should I answer it in two parts or at the same time?
It's up to you.
Okay. So in making the script, I did not use the help of AI, but I do use the help of data in the internet, and that is as good as AI because that is the source that machine learning comes from. So I'd say the percentage is 10% are the data I already find in the internet, and 90% is me developing my own ideas. For example, what could be counted as integrity in the age of AI. And the second part is, what was the second question? Could you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. My second question is, do you feel that you're benefited from AI use, especially for this competition?
As for the second question, I do feel that I could benefit from the AI use in this competition. For example, in trying to organizing ideas, because AI takes its learning from a lot of data, it can help me to learn from the patterns how ideas are best organized. However, I think I should not benefit from stealing ideas from it, but merely from the organization and learning from what is to create my own. That is my answer. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the answer.
For the question, the next question from Sarah. For Sarah, you may deliver the question, Kak.
Right. So, reflecting to Audi's question as well. So why do you think speaker believe that I lacks integrity?
Yes. Could you repeat?
So why do you think AI lacks integrity?
Okay. So the reason why I think AI itself lacks integrity is because it doesn't have that moral reasoning. So integrity can be defined as having the moral uprightness, the strong principles. However, AI does not have that. It only learns from data. And who provides this data? Humans. So AI's moral integrity is false. It comes from human. And the only one with that integrity is human because AI is only learning this data and make a deduction based on this data, but cannot use the same method of reasoning when faced with new variables, as I mentioned in the text. So that is why it does not have real integrity, a moral judgment of its own. It relies on the data that we provide. So that's why in this era of AI, the only integrity is the one that humans have and not AI. That is my answer.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
For the question. And the last question from Miss E will be read it by Mia, Kak Emmanuel. Okay, so the question is, what do you know about the machine learning?
Okay. So actually, I have a lecture on digital transformation in my university, so I do hear a little about machine learning. From what I hear is that you give inputs of as many data as you can to a machine for it to learn the data to be able to give answers when given a prompt based on the data that they learn from all this thing. And it's called machine because it's autonomous. It doesn't have to be taught. You just give all this data and it does this like reiteration of learning all the data over and over again, giving you input and learning it again. And like building these neural networks like a human brain, but in a machine. And that is how I understand it.
For your answer, Kak Emmanuel. Yes, your speech session is officially over. You can go back to the waiting room, Kak Emmanuel. Thank you so much, and good luck, Kak Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, Kak Jacinta. Hello,
Recording in progress.
educators and committees. Are you ready for your speech, Kak Jacinta?
Yes, but may I ask if my voice is clear enough?
Yes, you clear. We will give you some time for prepare your camera and microphone screen. For the timer, we'll start with your first word, ya, Kak.
Okay, thank you. I wonder how many people here in this Zoom meeting have the Labubu doll. Oh, no. The Sonny Angel. Do these names of dolls sound familiar to you guys here? Raise your hands. Don't be afraid. This is the type of product that you never really know you needed, but somehow now everyone and their moms has one. You see it on TikTok, you see it on Instagram. Ladies and gentlemen, is what we call consumerism, the new wave of consumerism by Gen Z, in which shopping is no longer just about buying things like we normally do back in the days, but it is also about keeping up with the trend. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jacinda, and today I will be talking about the impact Gen Z has on the new wave of consumerism. Gen Z is defined as the generation born from 1997 until 2012. This generation, or in this case, my generation, is currently shaping a new wave of consumerism in ways that we have never seen before. Consumerism itself, according to research, is defined as the act of unconscious, excessive, and continuous act of purchasing. The act of consumerism intensifies after the pandemic COVID-19, where social media has become the main platform for brands to advertise and promote their products. The term influencers suddenly became popular because of how brands utilize them to promote and advertise their products. Those brands who are able to adapt quickly to this new change and utilize those platforms and influencers to promote and advertise their products become successful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you guys know why this happened? Because those brands are able to discover the main attraction of Gen Z's purchase preference, which is, can you guys guess? Experiences. Let's take the blind box that I have mentioned earlier as an example. When you're buying blind box, you never really know what type of Sonny Angel or Labubu doll that you're going to get out of the blind box. But that makes the experience exhilarating because it keeps you guessing. It pushes you to buy the blind box more and more again. And this intensifies the act of consumerism itself because you love the experience of opening the box. Because let's just be honest, guys, the most recent viral makeup cushion product that you see everywhere on TikTok, we don't really need it, do we? We just really want to hop on the trend of petting the cushion pop on our skin because we see everyone doing it. The idea of buying it never really pops up in your head before, but now that you see everyone doing it, I think I probably need one as well. And this describes as the act of consumerism itself. However, the new wave of consumerism by Gen Z does not only have negative impact, because Gen Z is also deeply aware about global issues around the world. They are very passionate about social justice, climate change, and sustainability, and this awareness can be seen in their chasing decisions. A notable example can be seen on the backlash against fast fashion brands back in the pandemic. Gen Z consumers began to question the ethics of companies and call out their labor practices. And fans out there who do not listen and ignore their concerns, risking to lose a significant portion of their market. That is why we can conclude that Gen Z does intensify the act of consumerism itself. That's why we as Gen Z have to start taking responsibility and learn how to prioritize the products that we actually need. However, let's not forget that Gen Z is also a powerful agent of change. We use our voices on social media to advocate for change. That is why brands out there, what are you guys doing? Start taking notes, listen to us, because we, Gen Z, have the power to shape the market. My name is Jacinda. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Jacinda, for your amazing speech. Your speech take something 4 minutes and 30 seconds, ya, Kak. Next, we will go to Q&A session. For Audi, you may deliver the question, Kak.
Okay, hello, Jacinda. Thank you for the previous performance. Yeah, my question for you is, okay, why do you think that consumerism is only specific for Gen Z? Meanwhile, in the 18th and in the 19th century, people also start a wave of consumerism when the Industrial Revolution began. And even the boomers and the prior generation that are still living nowadays in our world, they are also joining the wave of consumerism. Moms buying Louis Vuitton and rich dads, businessmen, they're buying Porsche for lifestyles and not necessity. And why is that you think that consumerism is only specific and unique to Gen Z? Do you get my question?
Yes. Thank you, dear educator, for the questions. I don't think that it specifies on Gen Z, although you are very correct that it has started from the previous generation. That is why I really highlighted the word intensified because it becomes accelerated. Now that Gen Z is currently the power makers, the change makers, the agents of change right now, we have the consumerism lies in our hands because we are currently in our middle, or let's say 20s or 30s. So we are the ones who spend most of our monies now. And as I've mentioned before, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that is when the act of consumerism intensifies because social media has now become the main platforms to promote. So it is now more accessible for people to just easily buy things. So there is no like clear restriction to not buy anymore, unlike those in previous generations. That is my question. That is my answer. Sorry.
All right, thank you for the answer.
Thank you for the question, Maudi, and thank you for the answer. The next question from Kak Sarah. Kak Sarah, you may deliver the question, Kak.
All right, thank you. So I'm actually quite interested in how you highlighted Blind Box X as an example. However, in your opinion, is it possible to balance being a responsible consumer while still enjoying the fun and excitement of shopping trends? And how would you achieve that balance?
Okay, thank you, dear educator, for the questions. I would like to answer. Yes, it is definitely possible to still enjoy the act of shopping and like keeping up with the trends, like buying blind boxes that has been very popular now. But it is important, as one of my last statements in the last paragraph, to take responsibility and to start truly learning how to prioritize which products that we need. Let's say if we want to participate in the blind box trend, we can just buy 2 of them, or we can restrict how many products that we want to buy, because the idea of consumerism is when you buy things excessively. But if you're just buying it just because you want like 1 or 2 of them for collections, that is definitely fine. But when it is borderline to excessive, that is when you should know how to prioritize and to stop doing it. So that will be my answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you so much for the question, Kasara. The next question, Miss Ukti will be delivered by me, ya Kak Dajina. Okay, so the question is, what do you think of Roblox or Labubu effect for the mental health for teenagers?
Okay. So thank you so much for the question. What I would say is that because I also take Labubudol as the example of my speech, how it impacts mental health, also based on the perspective as a psychology student, it it feeds the FOMO inside of us, the fear of missing out, because you see it everywhere, the trend everywhere, and some of the people, the kids or Gen Z in this case, who purchase those things like Robux or Labubu dolls, they do not really have stable jobs. So their fundings come from their parents. And when they are not able to buy the products that they wanted to, because let's say their parents are not able to afford them, that will get them to be insecure and become more reclusive in their surroundings and their friends because they see their friends have it, but they don't have it. So it truly impacts the mental health of fearing of missing out. So yeah, that will be my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacinda, for your answer. So with this, your presentation is officially over. You can turn to the waiting room. And thank you so much, Jacinda. Good luck
Thank you, committees and educators.
for the adjudicator, Raka, task dengan partisipan number 8 ya, Kak.
Ini kalau buka Zoom muncul apa? Yang muncul apa? Udah gini, full screen. Full screen-nya udah, semua suaranya. Masih ya suaranya. Kecil banget. Gak ada suara emang belum mau. Emang pesan lagi ta? Buat Allah. Apa dia nggak suka kopi?
Karil boleh nanya sebentar nggak ya? Untuk spreadsheet aku itu, aku nggak tahu ini aku aja atau memang educator yang lain juga. Cuman untuk Q&A-nya itu udah masuk ke rumus yang totalnya belum ya? Soalnya di tempat aku itu belum masuk di sum-nya. Value-nya belum masuk tab yang itu.
Ya Kak, mungkin masih ada kesalahan kita nanti kami hitung ulang.
Oke, thank you.
Nanti kau di
sini berarti.
Kak Sarah and Kak Udi already done scoring, Kak? Right, we will to the next participant, ya, Kak. Good morning, Kak Bono.
Good morning.
Are you ready for deliver your speech, Kak?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, we will give you some time for prepare your camera and microphone, ya, Kak.
Okay, thank you. Then I start.
Timer will begin with your speech, ya, Kak. So, first word of your speech.
Laptop bocor, laptop bocor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's imagine a scenario that will change your life. A deadly earthquake rocks your hometown. You start panicking, not knowing what to do. And in the midst of all the crying and screaming of the people around you, all of a sudden, bang! Something knocks on you and you get knocked out. Hours have passed and you end up in a hospital bed. The doctors ask you about how you feel, and you answer that you feel fine and could need of some food. But then the doctors answered that food supplies haven't reached the hospital. How would you react to a question like that? Food security is the cornerstone of every aftermath of a disaster. Without food security, how will we know if our food is safely delivered? How will we know if our food's quality has been safely checked? Let's take an example. During El Nino, Indonesia's crop prices spiked due to drought. Wildfires increased by a factor of 5 compared to the previous year. Coffee production in Indonesia decreased by 20%, and rice prices increased by 25% over the government recommended levels. As farmers either avoided their third crop planting in October and November of 2023, or planted crops simply failed due to lack of water. The Indonesian government has taken serious actions against these. For example, the Indonesian government has increased firefighting capacity, importing 2 million metric tons of rice to support food supplies. And the government is also working to reform agricultural practices. For example, reducing the use of fire in crop planting and bush clearing in peatlands, and also restoring fire-damaged areas. But ultimately, more systemic interventions will be needed.
Ini bukan segini tuh
In reality, it really shows us how humanity is helping each other for the people who are facing the harsh reality on the other side. We must see something like this as an example for being helpful to each other, caring about each other. Let us be the future inspiration for the future generation. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Kabono, for your speech. Your speech takes time 3 minutes and 20 cent- uh, your speech takes 3 minutes and 26 second, ya, Kak.
Yes.
After this, we will go to the Q&A session, ya, Kak Bono.
Yes.
Okay, for the question, Kak Sarah, you may deliver the question, Kak.
All right, so thank you, Bono, for your performance. So actually, I want to talk about the innovation and technology side. So do you think technological innovations can significantly improve food security in disaster situations that you have mentioned? And if so, so what technologies do you believe can hold the most promise?
Okay. I think yes, technology can really improve food security. But we have to trust that technology. We have to trust the person who's informing us. So, for example, we're already at the place of the aftermath, and we're requesting our teammates to say, "Hey, I need this amount of tons of food for all these people." Okay, how much do you need? No. Okay, I'll send it to you. But if for some reason he inputs maybe like the wrong code to what's it called, yeah, to for the food delivery. Now that's the problem. We have to check again and recheck about the information that we're giving to our teammates that are already at the aftermath zone. So yeah, that's my answer.
All right, thank you, Bono, for your answer.
No problem.
Thanks, Nasara, for your question, and give Kabono for the answer. Next question, Vika Audi, you may deliver the question.
Okay, thank you, Bono, for the previous performance. I actually enjoyed the opening, actually half of your speech that you were presenting. I was interested and I was yearn for more solution and for more content in your speech, actually, since you already given a very nice kickstart at your opening. But then apparently your speech is rather short. It's only 3.26 seconds. And here I didn't really see the solution, like the feasible solution that you were giving for this issue. You were mentioning about the government is also working to reform agricultural practices, and then you also said that ultimately a more systemic intervention will be needed. But you don't really explain like what intervention is needed. So my question for you is actually quite simple. What can you, as a student, as a high schooler, do to help improve this food scarcity in your daily life as a high school?
Okay.
Do you get my
So
question?
yeah. So in our daily life, to avoid food scarcity, I think that if, for example, I went to school and maybe I ran out of pocket money, for example, and not pocket money. Oh, no. There's no food in the house, you know. So maybe instead of going out and like borrowing money from other people so that we can buy food, I think we should we should hold the hunger. We should hold the hunger that we have. I would rather stay hungry rather than borrowing money and then after that I'm probably getting a debt or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Bon.
Thank you for the question, Udi, and for the answer, Kabuno. And the last question is Ukti will be delivered by me, Kabuno. Question is, what do you know about the problem of supply chain in your province area?
Wait, what was the question again? I couldn't hear it. Sorry.
I will repeat it, Kabuno. So the question is, what? So the question is, what do you know about the problem of supply chain in your province area?
What do you know about the problem of what?
Supply.
Supply chain.
Supply chain.
Supply chains
Oh, supply chain. Oh, I'm sorry.
of the products for the consumers.
So wait, can you repeat it again?
Supply chains mean the distribution of food or other products, and in your case, you're talking about food scarcity. So, what do you know about the supply chain problems or the distribution in other way in your province? I don't know your area. I don't know where you come from, but you know your area, so maybe you can describe to us what is the issue of the distribution of food there.
Oh, so if my place had like maybe like a food crisis, for example, well, well, we have to be smart about how we manage our food, really, so that we don't end up going into a moment where we're low on food in that place. And yeah, it's all about management. It's all about we have to play smart. Like we have to know what's more of a priority, what type of food is more of a priority than the other one. So yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you much, Kabono, for your answer and session. So your speech session is officially over. You can turn back to the waiting room, ya, Kak. Thank you very much and good luck, Kabono.
Thank you.
For Kakak jadi teacher, sorry ya, Kak.
Recording stopped.
Horizon kakak-kakak. If it does, before we proceed to the participant number 10, I want to inform after the participant number 10, we will go back to the participant number 10 kakak-kakak, for the last chance. Good morning, Karabia. Uh, I think you're not audible. We will give you time to prepare your camera and microphone, ya, Kak.
Am I audible, Kak?
Yes, you're audible now.
Recording in progress.
Before we start, I want to inform the timer will begin with your first word on the speech, ya, Kak.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Yeah, Kak. Let me just make sure. Okay. I can start at any time, right?
Take your time.
Okay. People in the 1940s predicted that by 2024, we would have flying cars. The reality is, yes, technology has come to a point where it has neared flying cars. But humanity has came to a point where the current generation is willing to spend 17 hours waiting in line to purchase yet another internet sensation, the Labubu doll, where demand has skyrocketed. Ever since the endorsement by the K-pop idol and star Lisa. Although from a wider perspective, it does look like an ordinary doll. But the dominating influence of the internet has allowed its meaning to transcend beyond its material characteristics. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rabiata Bani Hafsari, and today I will be delivering a speech entitled Mass Consumerism in Modern Dystopia. There's a bittersweet irony in how modern technology that has once hailed a step forward to humanity has also contributed to the regression through the rise of mass media-driven consumerism. The youth, now often referred to as Generation Z, is one of the most influential groups as of right now, sparking new trends that puppeteer the market and drive profitability. But to explain this phenomenon, we must first understand why this happens and what is the role of social media in fluctuating consumption patterns. According to J.W. Potter, media influences arise due to a process of habitation, where people are exposed to different ideas and images that allow them to internalize behavior into their own personal value system. In 2003, Potter argued that media can cause short-term effects like imitation, where people copy behavior that they see online. As such, trendsetters like celebrities and influencers have become the new role models. They portray the image that we wish to embody. As such, people go to great lengths to try to imitate their behavior out of idolization, in an attempt to try to obtain a speck of similarity. This leads to long-term mass consumerism. It's a behavior. The media is obsessed with trying to recreate a cosmopolitan lifestyle drenched in on-trend goods and services, most of which we don't necessarily need. The clean girl aesthetic, the old money aesthetic, the viral Stanley Cup, the retinol serum. We're romanticized into consuming goods every month for the sake of achieving a certain aesthetic. We constantly find flaws in the goods we already own and are urged to buy new goods, the next big time goods. It's ironic because the media is supposed to be a platform for information, but it's consistently have ended up in mountains and mountains of landfills. Manufacturers trying to keep up are challenged every day to push machinery and pollution to satisfy our demands. As such, next generation has the task to stop this problem because media is a double-edged sword. As much as it can cause harm, it can also ignite advocacy, and Gen Z has been consistently praised for its awareness on social injustice and pressing world issues. For instance, in the conflict of Israel and Palestine, this is where we can demonstrate that level of empathy, where Generation Z has been boycotting different companies that are been funding or supporting Israel, and thus their sales have been dropping heavily. This implies that we should not be underestimating the power of the masses, because we can garner that influence into redirecting our focus in consumption and de-influencing mass consumerism, and thus promoting more sustainable and widespread sustainability practices through thrifting and minimal spending. As the next generation, we must stop being so easily influenced by others and make our own critical actions. We must stop letting the media dictate our every actions, mindlessly leading us to a world of dystopia, and rather take action. The media and the generation is what caused this problem, and so we must be the ones to end it. Thank you.
So much, Carla, for your speech. Your speech took time 5 minutes. And for speakernya, Kak. Next, we will into the Q&A session. You immediately put the question, Kak.
Okay, thank you. So Rabia, you mentioned about the Israel and Palestine thing. So I want to ask about the impact of boycotting. So how effective do you think boycotting brands over social issues is as a form of consumer activism? Are there limits to this approach?
Okay. Given that as consumers, we do not have the full resources to make legitimate actions and legal actions because we do not have the power of governments and legal bodies to represent a country or make any sort of legislations that lead to a ceasefire or anything. Therefore, as the public, we can only use our voices to try to elevate the voices because, as we know, in Palestine, they need the representation of everyone else in the world. They lack the voice because every day they're being oppressed by Israeli soldiers, and therefore that is the reason why it's the role for us as people that are standing by in this conflict to speak up. And so the most we can do is to speak up about this sort of issues. And one of the things that we can do is by boycotting these companies. Because of the rise of global influence, we're increasingly getting more aware of the situations that are happening. And even though it's not necessarily an effective step to completely obliterating the conflict, it's still a step forward because we're acknowledging the fact that they're being oppressed. And so boycotting, although it has its limits, it can help raise awareness, and it can help at least sort of identify and help what kind of companies should we be supporting. Because as people are standing by, we should do as much as possible to be supporting the right side of history. We should do as much as possible to be supporting the companies that are helping Palestinian survivors, and stop focusing our time on the companies that have been contributing to the issue. And it has proven to become quite efficient because the boycotting and the information that we've obtained as a person that has stand by, most companies have actually, as I mentioned before in a speech, their sales have been heavily dropping because of it. Because they were like a main donator for the reason why Israeli soldiers continue to oppress Palestinian people. Then even by boycotting them, we're somehow creating an impact by at least lessening the amount of revenue that they could have produced if we hadn't. If I may ask, how much time am I allocated for each question?
Your question is 1 minute ya Kak, Rabia.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of that. Apologies.
Thank you for your answer, Kak Rabia. Thank you. Next question for Kak Audi. You may deliver the question.
Okay, thank you, previously, Rabia, for the performance. My question for you is, do you, as a Gen Z yourself, do you consider yourself as one of the FOMO individual trying to keep up with trends and viral phenomenon? And how do you tackle this problem personally? Did you get my question? Okay.
Okay. As a member of Gen Z myself, it's inevitable that I face FOMO over like consumerism trends because as a normal teenager, it's normal and it's kind of explainable that we kind of seek the validation and community that we have with our friends and our peers and our social lives. And therefore, it's completely understandable that I am also one of those people that feel FOMO. But then again, because of the way the world is working, everybody feels the same way. And although this is kind of like a default setting, it's why we need to inform ourselves about the impact that our choices create so that we can actually try to solve the issue. I do myself face FOMO in like buying some sort of cosmetics or anything that is on trend, but I feel that it comes to an extent where I'm still self-aware and I still am trying to educate myself into changing ways. Therefore, I can still implement some sort of sustainability and monitor my shopping or consumeristic habits. Thank you.
Rabia, for your answer. Next, the last question is from Miss Bukti. Will I read it for you, ya Kak? Okay. So the question is, what is your positive perspective of our future?
If I may clarify, it's about anything in general, just the positive aspect of the future, not necessarily towards consumerism or like in general.
It's up to you, Karabia.
Okay. Right. My positive aspect of the future is that in a generation where we are raised digitally, we have been granted the privilege of accessing information very easily and very quick. And therefore, because we're given this privilege, then we must be educated enough to be able to be the generation that exists to make the changes. Because as a generation, we're facing the collateral damage made by the generations before us. Therefore, now that we're given the privilege and opportunity to raise our voices through the internet and all sorts of social media platforms, then we should at least be using that aspect to unite as one Generation Z into combating these different issues. I want to see new perspectives and things that we've learned in the past and forming new legislations, new governments, new representatives of Gen Z that are truly willing to care for the community and they're truly willing to create changes, especially in regards to consumption. Because we are the main contributors, I also believe that it is up to us to end it because we're the ones who are sustaining this whole problem. Therefore, with education and a new perspective, we can make changes. Thank you.
For your answer. With this, your speech session is officially over. Thank you so much. You can go back to the waiting room, Kak Arabia. Thank you, Kak. Good luck. Jadi hater can start scoring for the participant number 10 ya, Kak.
Recording stopped.
That's fine. Okay, we will to the next participant. Hello, good morning, Kamade. Kamade. Kamade, are you ready for your speech, Kamade?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Recording in progress.
Wait, hard to. It's kind of hard to open my camera. Are you visible?
I want to inform the segment will begin with your first word on your speech.
What?
Time will begin with your first word in your speech.
It sounds so small.
Your timer will begin with your first word of your speech.
That's good. Uh, Let me start my speech. Okay. Okay. I'm good.
You can start.
Speaker good, right? No.
You may start your speech.
Okay. Okay. Let me start my speech in 3, 2, 3, 2, 1. Greetings. My name is Made Tanaya, a surgeon cadet from the Indonesian Naval Academy. And today, we gather here to explore a transformative force in the world of consumerism. Starting off with my generation, which is the Generation Z generation. So this dynamic generation was born in between in the late 1990s and as early as 2010s. It's not just shaping the trends, but they are redefining what it means to be a consumer in the modern age. As we, the consumer, will buy and buy and buy, since it's the foundation of how our economy will work. Gen Z are the first generation to grow up as tech savvy, born with smartphones, raised with smartphones, and anything involved with smartphones. And with smartphones and social media at their fingertips, they have unlimited access towards the world online market today. This connectivity empowers them to research product, compare brands, and make informed choice. They don't just consume, they engage, share, and demand transparency from the brands that they support, resulting in an enormous increase in consumer spending, leading to what we call an impulsive buying, which resulted in a bad financial decision. Whether you realize this or not, but this code of buying more stuff than we need has been drilled to us from years and years of advertisement. You might ask, what is that make us do such impulsive buying? Firstly, what I do know from how I interact with my peers and colleagues is that we have this thing so-called FOMO, or the fear of missing out. Basically, it's an act where you perceive that people are having a greater life and experience better things than you are. In this case, it's a subject that is mainly on non-essential spending. For example, your breakfast coffee that costs the same price for your whole lunch meal, your streaming service that you barely look since you have a YouTube Premium, or the subscription fee for your virtual bath skin. And the bottom line is that a lot of money will be spent if this continues. What I think we need to start doing is, instead of cutting it all out, just starting to reduce and redirect it, using that money for things that are going to be spent in a more meaningful way for the long run, rather than buying things that we just want impulsively and that we probably never use in our life. I think it's really important for people, including myself, to try to break out of these habits of buying things impulsively, or things that we don't need, like product, because this is the example of mass consumption culture. An example is the presence of GoFood. So GoFood is like getting food delivered to your doorstep, despite like doubling the cost of it. By changing our habit around consumption, we can turn away. I mean, like personally, I don't really blame us for falling to become a consumerism, because it was the blueprint that was given to us as a consumer. What is it to be a good consumer is to give company profit by what? By spending our hard work money. I think that is all. Anyhow, thank you for listening.
All right, thank you very much, Kamade, for your speech. Your speech take 3 and 28 seconds, ya, Pak.
Excuse me?
Your speech take 3 minutes and 28 seconds. We will turn to the Q&A session, ya, Pak Made.
Okay. I mean, can you speak louder? I can't hear you. I'm using a speaker. Sorry.
So, Audi, you may deliver the question, kan?
Perhaps Kak Sarah or Kak Uti can deliver it first.
Thank you.
So, hello, Made. So thank you for.
Hello.
Can you hear my voice?
Totally.
Okay, so you yourself as a Gen Z, so as an individual, how do you break the cycle of impulsive buying given the overwhelming influence of advertising and social media that exist?
Okay, so you're talking about my opinion. Well, personally, I'm going to what we call learn self-control. Like, what is self-control? Is by like actually giving it what do you call it? Like we call it in Indonesia. So you have to be thankful of what you have, and not like people like always follow the trend like buying phones. Like you have your own phone. Like you just enjoy it, enjoy the little things. That's what makes like impulsive buying not gonna happen. I think
Okay.
that's it.
All right. Thank you for your answer.
Thank you for the question, Kak Sarah.
Excuse me?
Okay. Audi, are you ready for giving the question, Kak?
Okay. Can you hear me, Made?
Yeah, clearly.
All right. Thank you very much for the previous performance. My question for you is, can you think of one specific rules or law that the government can make to tackle this new wave of consumerism in our country?
The rules from the government, enforced by the government. So I have an idea of like having a limit towards the money you spend on your credit card. So basically in a month, you can't spend more than this amount of money for like, for example, like you have money, 10 million in your bank account. And for this month, you cannot spend more than 1 million on like non-essential item, as I said earlier. That is why when you spend more of it, you will get a like what you call a fine. That will make you like know like this is not a good thing to do over and over again. I think that is it.
Right. Thank you for the answer. You still have some remaining time. Do you want to add something, or you're done with your answer?
I think that is all.
All right. Thank you, Made.
Ready for your question. And Kamade, for the last question, will from Miss Uti. I will read it for you, Kamade.
Yeah, okay.
Right. So the question is, what is your perception on consumer side effect, the war advertisement?
What?
I'm repeat. Uh, what is your perception on consumer side effect, the war advertisement? Is it positive or negative?
Advertisement?
Yes.
The what? I'm sorry to say it. Can you repeat again?
The war of Made. So if there are two companies competing each other, they're gonna make a war of advertisement. Do you think it's gonna be positive or negative for the consumer itself? You as a consumer, you think it's gonna be positive or negative for you? It's up to you. Gonna choose the side whether it is positive or negative. Thank you.
So yeah, the advertisement is actually a positive thing since it's helped the business to grow and it helps the what do you call it? To the economy to grow. That is why I do agree with giving ads toward people to make them do impulsive buying. But there's the problem in it. Impulsive buying makes you have a bad financial decision.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your answer, Kamade. So with this, your speech officially over. You can back to the waiting room, Kamade. Thank you and good luck, Kamade.
Thank you.
We can start calling for the last participant, number 2.
Recording stopped.
Yes, for kakak adjudicator with this last participant, so the participant is done, kakak can leave the Zoom and want to improve after this session will be in the 60 minutes. We will conclude announcement top 5. Kakak may deliver the general aju in the announcement top 10 ya kakak.
Okay, thank you, Living.
General apa namanya general feedbacknya itu nanti atau gimana tadi? Sorry.
Ya, untuk general aju.
Atau setelah ini?
General ajunya nanti pas akan pengumuman top 5 ya kak.
Jadi waktu sore nanti itu ya?
Ya, ya.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for all the adjudicator. Hello, good afternoon to all the participants of speech competition EIA 23-2024.
Recording in progress.
To say congratulations for your performance and good luck for to announce about the announcement top 5 will be good today, 16 past 30 o'clock, and I will inform it on the WhatsApp group ya, kakak-kakak. So if you have any agenda, you can leave the meeting and back again on the 16 past 13. Thank you so much, kakak-kakak.